1834.
Get out of town. Can you believe that?
It was made by C.F. Martin Sr. in New York City within months after he arrived in the United States. It's wonderful.
It looked like the action was really, I was looking at it behind the glass. For such an old instrument, I couldn't. It's right there.
It's a player.
Well, they were the best guitarists available. Ragtime hadn't been invented yet.
All this anomalous music coming out.
Oh, but CF would be, he'd be very proud. That's the strings are lamb and custom.
This is the real gut stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Unreal, yeah.
Hi there, folks. I'm Tammy Wynette. Good evening. Oh, don't get up. Don't get up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Stevie Coyle here, webcasting with Miss Valerie May from our secret subterranean lair in Lafayette, California. Can you hear everything okay? I think the picture is coming through. Is the volume good? No distortion? No wrong notes? Because we can adjust that. You can adjust that there with your volume control. Do let us know if the sound is good. Tonight's show is brought to you by the letters WTF and Mr. Bubble.
Hubert, that time, Grandma has a surprise for you. Where's that little scamp?
Is it a rocket?
You can't see it, not until you get into that tub.
It's a hole.
It is not. It's Mr. Bubble, and he'll get you so clean your mother won't know you. Where is he, the little rascal? Binky, what are you doing in Hubert's tub? Oh, you're a nuisance. Now, Hubert, I expect to find you in that tub with Mr. Bubble.
Madam, how do you do?
Ah! A man! There's a man in the bathtub operated. A man in the bath.
Grandma, it's me.
Oh, the little scamp. Was that him? It was you, Hubert. And you're so clean your mother won't know you. Come now, it's bedtime.
Yes, Mr. Bubble gets you so clean your mother won't know you. Tell her it leaves no bathtub ring. She'll like that.
Well, that was a strange interlude. Let's proceed, shall we? Wonder what's going on in the stratosphere today. How are things at your house? A lot of indoorness? Here too. Any requests, any comments, any muttered threats? Please type them in, and Miss Valerie will sling them right over to me, and we'll get it all taken care of. Do you know, every Monday I tune into Mary Flower's show at 1:30 Pacific time. There's a gal named Mary Flower, great blues gal, great fingerstyle gal, and she does a show at 1:30 called Blue Monday, and it's always just terrific. And she did a bunch of stuff in Drop D, and Drop D is kind of a cool tuning. Put 'em in the ground, 6 feet down, till you hear that coffin sound. You can weep and you can moan, but that old boy is never coming home. Another man done a full go round. Another man done a full go round. We can tell our tales, we can laugh and joke, ponder all day about the words he spoke. You can't run and you can't hide and you can jump by your side. Another man done a full go round. Another man done a full go round. No more fussing about this, worrying about that, taking out the dog or letting in the cat. Eat your biscuits and gravy, you can smoke and drink. Ain't gonna matter what nobody thinks. Another man done a full go round. Another man done a full go round. Winter, summer, spring or fall, you got to go when the good Lord call. He made us laugh until we cried, never even got a chance to say goodbye. Another man done a full go round, another man done a full go round. Put him in the ground, 6 feet down, till you hear that coffin sound. You can weep and you can moan, but that old boy coming home. Another man done a full go round, another man done a full go round. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth? More drop D stuff. Interesting tuning. For you non-guitar nerds, and I imagine there are a few, what you can do is you take your low string, this E string down here. Standard tuning is E, A, D, G, B, E, sometimes called Yajbi. And by other less kind folks, it's called missionary tuning. And it's fairly standard. It's fairly basic. Now, what you can do is you can start adjusting things. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe let's take a little tour through some of the alternate tunings here, since I had no plan anyway. And absent any requests from you, and do feel free to pipe up with any requests you got. And I'll see what I can muster if it's something I know and can manage. On short notice, this is drop D, where you get that nice big, you can get some of that going. I don't know if I've played this in 50 years. Nice little boogie thing going on the bass there. You can do some real dark sounding stuff. All that bluesy stuff. All those flat thirds and flat sevenths. And you guitar students of mine know what I'm talking about there, don't you? Yes, you do. Just something I was writing a little while ago. Double drop D is got an even darker kind of sound to it. Both E's go down to D. How's our sound, Becky? Are we sounding okay out there? Reverb. Cool. I don't know how we did that, but if it's not bad, we'll go with it. Perhaps. I only know a verse or two of this one. Never stopped me before. Thought I heard that Jersey devil up the road and around the bend. Thought I saw that Jersey devil dancing in his moccasins. Hey, hey, mama, better close your window. Pull that peach pie off of your sill. Well, the Jersey devil's got a sweet tooth on him, never been known to get his fill. And I thought I saw that Jersey devil up the road and around the bend. Thought I saw that Jersey devil dancing in his moccasins. I really should learn that one. I wrote it, and there it is. No takebacks. So that's kind of stuff that can be done with double drop D. Right next door to double drop D, you take your, now we've already lowered our, are you all geeking out with me? Excellent. The two E's are down to D. Now we're going to take the B string down to A. And this is called Dadgad because that's what it spells out, D-A-D-G-A-D. These are all secrets. I shouldn't be telling you non-guitarists this. I'm reminded of that series of comic books back in the 60s. It seems like every other Marvel or DC, I've forgotten which one, always had on the last two pages a very buff, burly gentleman of Asian descent with a black mask on and his arms folded across his chest. And the big headline was, the masters, the Kung Fu masters of the Far East would kill me if they knew I was revealing their secrets. And I kind of feel like that today, except less swarthy and I don't know Kung Fu. This is Dadgad. It's got the native, it has lots of different sounds, but natively it's got this kind of sound. You know what? I'm going to even play a song in this tuning because I like it just that much. Hello. Too close. has this sort of Celtoid sort of sound to it. But Pierre Ben Suzanne, listen to him. He plays everything in Dadgad, even stuff that doesn't sound remotely like Dadgad. Sailing homeward one night on the deep, swinging in my hammock, I fell asleep. I dreamed a dream and I thought it true, concerning Franklin and his gallant crew. With 100 seamen he sailed away to the frozen ocean in the month of May, to seek a passage around the pole, where we poor sailors do sometimes go. Through cruel hardships they mainly strove. Their ship on mountains of ice was drove. Only the Eskimo in his skin canoe was the only one that ever came through. And now my burden, it gives me pain to find lost Franklin. I would cross the main. 10,000 pounds in gold would I freely give to say on earth that my Franklin do live. tune is sad. You should hear the words. Wow. The water is wide. Why, yes, a question. Way over here on the left, a question. Thank you.
If you know Little Martha and also any Carole King.
Little Martha. You know what? I can perhaps do a tiny stumble through of Little Martha for partial credit. Now we're in Dadgad. D-A-D-G-A-D. The G comes down to F sharp. Things are getting complicated, I know. This is getting Byzantine. Pretty close. Muscle memory, they call that, from many, many years ago. But some of it was still in there. Some of it was still retained. So that's open D tuning. Kind of good for slide, too, sometimes, if you do slidey stuff. I'll bust out the slide one of these times, too. Now, let's see, from here, we need to crank back up to... That F sharp goes back up to G. You're writing all this down, aren't you? Right? Now you can go back and check these videos out afterwards, because they persist. I don't know, Facebook has all kinds of space on their servers. It's astonishing. I've put up several hours worth of videos and whatnot in various formats. I also thank you for asking. I do a video every Friday or so, around noon or so. Now it's moved to 12:30 to make room for Gavin and Newsom's COVID report. Valuable information. So 12:30 on Fridays. Tune in from probably right here, or the Mighty Fine Guitars page, because that's the name of the shop that I own here in town. Haven't seen it in a long time, but apparently I still own that shop there. We do drug deals in the parking lot, and I get to go down tomorrow and take the boards off the windows, I think. Maybe I'll let it go for another couple of days. Oh, we're back to Dadgad. Now, the A goes back up to B. I'm going to mess with that in a little bit. And the big A, pardon me, didn't mean to be fresh. The big A goes down to G. And you know, the one thing you can count on after tuning to all of these different tunings is you're going to need to change your strings afterwards. So, you're welcome. Now you've got D, you've got D, you've got D, G, D, G, B, D, which people call digibadigiv tuning. What was on. Hey. College days. Sorry, I just entertained myself there. Peter Frampton, something or other. I wish I could think of what it was called. A penny for your thoughts. Open G tuning. It's really, don't tell the Hawaiian guys. The Hawaiian guys refer to this as taro patch tuning, and it does a lot of really cool slack key. I can't believe I don't know any slack key, but I don't. Radio Hula, I'm sure that's in G. And I'm going to try and learn that. I got that far just on sheer guts and stupidity. But I was going to play for you. Oh, this is, don't tell the Hawaiian guys, but this is essentially a banjo tuning. And just give myself a little break. I'm going to come up into A. For all you fiddlers that want to play along. Something like that. Open G tuning. You know, there's a first cousin to open G that's G6 tuning. You take the E string you took down to D, put it back, for God's sake. Put it back. Put it back up to E. And I'll do that myself here. Now this gives you, now I'm talking to the guitar nerds again. Hi there, nerds. N, the sign of the N. This tuning is a G6 tuning. Technically, it's a G6 tuning, not a sus4 tuning, not a G sus4. It's a G6 tuning because you've got an E note in your G chord. G chord is G, B, and D, 1, 3, and 5, and an E is 6. Does this make any sense? Probably not. Barely makes. It certainly makes no sense on this side of it, so I can't imagine what it's like out there. This is a useful tuning because This is probably a good time to mention that I give guitar lessons online all the time. 6 weeks, 7 weeks ago, I didn't know what Zoom was. I thought Zoom was the name of a company that made one of my little pedals and a recording device that I use. There's lots of Zooms out there, but the Zoom we're all using nowadays, never even heard of it 6 weeks ago, and now I'm on it all the time, doing guitar lessons. And there's plenty of room, so if you've been promising yourself that you're going to learn guitar one of these years, wow, has there ever been a better time? Hit me up, HMU, hit me up, and we'll get going on some guitar lessons. Totally customized. I don't use a program. I listen to what you want to play. Send me a few YouTube links. We'll figure out something you want to learn how to play, and then we'll go after that. And we'll back engineer any of those notes and stuff and chords and things that you need to know. But first, you get to play in music. For God's sake, they call it playing music. It's not working music. So it's start you off playing music, not reading music. That may happen or may not. In some cases, it never really did happen. We'll mention no names, but his initials are Stevie Coyle. So G6 tuning, the top 4 strings are just like standard tuning. So it's you've got all 4 strings that are just the same as they ever were. But since you're going to be playing mostly out of the key of G, you've got your A string tuned down to G, so it just sits there for you. You don't have to go for it. You don't have to hold it down with your finger or your nose or something over there when you want to come back to a G note. It's sitting right there for you at the open 5th string. How about that? This is one of the big differences between me and Kenny G is when I'm out of tune, I generally stop and fix it for you. See what you can do? It all sits right there. Chet Atkins arrangement, pretty much. I added a note or two here and there, but that's Chet Atkins right there. Ducky, where are we on time? I've lost myself. 8:12. Holy smokes. It's the battle of, the war of. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm way over my time, my allotted time. I was going to try and hold myself to a half an hour. Thanks for hanging in, those of you that did. Sorry for those of you that I was talking past with all of that guitar blather. But just seemed like the right time to talk about alternate tunings. And in fact, you know what? For those of you that want to stick around, Mary Flower does this, and I think it's a great idea. To stick around for another couple of minutes, you guitarists there. I'll give you a little teeny guitar lesson. And the rest of you are excused. Thank you very much. Come back next week, Monday at 7:30 p.m. or Thursdays in the afternoon, if you got nothing else going on. Thursday afternoons at 1:30 Pacific time. I do a little thing on Facebook here as well. So stop by one time or the other, and I'll see you folks later. And because Mary Flower suggested it, and it's such a great idea to do a little guitar lesson, talk to Mary Flower on Mondays at 1:30 in the afternoon, because she's terrific and she always gives a cool little lesson. She did something in drop D today. I'm going to give you a little tiny lesson on, while I'm tuning up, I'm going to get back in standard just to make things less horribly complicated. What would you like to learn about? Fingerstyle, left hand, right hand? The race is on. You got a couple of seconds to figure out if there's... All right, time's up. I know what I'm going to show you. Something that had eluded me for the longest time, but is really cool, I have to say. This is tops and cool. People are always talking about intervals. We need a 6 interval. We need this is a C6 chord. What the hell is that? It's a little tough to figure things out, what the numbers are on guitar, but here's a place to start, and I'll just get you started. Tengo un guajolote en mi garganta is the only thing I remember from Spanish class, is that I have a turkey in my throat, and I do for some reason. No, I also remember voy a la biblioteca con Pepe, which means, I forget, I'd like a burrito. No, that's como tu frijole, how you been? That's all I remember of Spanish, high school Spanish. It's ridiculous. Let's see if that helps. Well, there's a little shape on the guitar for you guitar nerds out there, like me, the sign of the N. This little shape right here. On Ducky, maybe swing in on the close-up cam for this.
Just so you know, it distorts the sound.
Oh, what does?
The other camera.
The other camera distorts the sound. Interesting. That should be having sound at all coming out of it. Interesting. Come on back to the regular one. There we go. Strange. Still learning the ropes here, kids. Here's this little shape in a G chord, and the kind of the campfire G chord that we're all taught that has a lot of problems. I'll go into that another time. That's a 1 and a 3. That's do, re, mi, do, re, mi. Remember Sound of Music? Julie Andrews and all those kids singing out in the hills, wearing curtains and stuff. I was horrified by that, even as a kid. Bunch of kids all dressed the same, wearing curtains. Give me a break. Was it like Gone with the Wind or something for kids? Terrifying. Anyway, the song she sang, though, was totally cool. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's kind of where you start. It's a very good place to start, as the song says. Here's... Why, yes, a question?
Also, Dale Barcelos wants you to show the kids how diminished chords act as transitions.
That's way down the road, Dale. That's way down the road. We'll try that another week. This is more basic for everybody. Diminished chords for transitions, you bet. Diminished sevenths, sure. Yeah. It's one of these little hashtag chords that kind of do all kinds of cool stuff. But back to the 1s and 3s. This is the 1-Z, 3-Z. That's a 1. That's do, re, mi, do, and mi. 1 and 3. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. What? That's not so very useful, I don't think. But if you change that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's useful. Because then you can say, well, what's the 6 of this? I have no idea, but I can sing it. 1, instead of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, I'm going to sing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, there. There's a G6 chord. How about that? But the basic place to start is 1 and 3. Do and mi. Do and mi. Yes. 1 and 3. There it is in a G chord. See that little shape, that little diagonal there? Mary was talking about shapes earlier today, and it's really useful because that's what guitar is all about, is shapes at first. That little shape is a 1 and a 3. The same shape shows up in a C chord right there on strings 5 and 4. See how that little diagonal goes? Adjacent strings, adjacent frets, little diagonal going away from you. It's in a D chord. It hides way up high here on this D chord. It's hiding behind that finger, but there it is. There's that the shape, capital T, capital S, the shape. Here's behind the middle finger, here on strings 4 and 3. There's the shape right there. Do, re, mi. Sure enough, do, re, mi, 1, 2, 3. Pretty cool, huh? So in G, C, D, E, doesn't show up in A, because A is different. Don't look for it in an A chord, because those notes 1 and 3 are right next to each other, do, re, mi, for reasons we needn't get into here. But for today, just ponder the shape, and realize that when you're holding a first position chord that has the shape in it, that's 1 and 3 right there, and you can start your counting to whatever else you need from there. A tiny example to finish up. Here's the C chord. C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somebody says we need a C6 chord, Stevie. C6 chord. Okay, so that's a C chord, but with a 6 interval kind of thrown in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to play that A note there. I would call that a 32, third string, second fret, 3, 2, 32. I need to add a 32 into my C chord. How the hell am I going to do that? I have to shift my hand around quite considerably. And sure enough, there's a C6 chord. It's got that kind of Texas swingy sort of sound to it. That's the idea of those fancy chords. And we'll work up to diminished sevenths. Yes, we will. But just for starters, there's a 1 and a 3. Just start with that. Look for that inside chords that you're playing, and you'll find it in an F chord, in the dreaded, aptly named F chord. There it is, 43 and 32, on strings 4 and 3. Sure enough. In a G chord, there it is. In a C chord, there it is. In a D chord, there it is. In an E chord, it hides behind there. In an F chord, it's hanging right out there on strings 4 and 3. In an A chord, it's different. They're side by side. And a B chord is like an A chord, so it's side by side there too. Letters and numbers. Like I said, today's show brought to you by the letters WTF and Mr. Bubble. Thanking our sponsor, Mr. Bubble. Thanking Miss Valerie May. And now it's about time to bunk down for the night, to get quiet, to unzip the tent. The mosquitoes have gone to sleep. And off we go. We'll see you next week, kids, with any luck. Be safe, and don't touch your face. So long, y'all. Nighty-night.